Hi, I'm Arran Adair and welcome to part 3 of my entry into the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. In this video I'll be working on the neck of the guitar. This will include radiusing the fretboard and doing the inlays, working on the carb for the back of the neck and also the final headstock shape, and maybe looking at decals on the headstock as well. Okay, let's get started. So I've got two ebony fretboard blanks and I'm going to dimension both of them, then I'll have another one spare for down the track for another guitar build. At the moment they're just rough sawn and they are, let's have a look, that's what, 9.7, nearly 10 there, about 10, so they're about 10 mil thick. To get at the depth for a Fender style neck, I'll need to get these to about 6.5 mil. The neck at the moment is just over 19 mil, 19.5. So if I can get those combined to be about an inch, then I'll have the right size that I want for the neck. So I'll put those on the router sled and get those to the right dimension. And incidentally, I've probably found that digital calipers are the best measuring tool by far for guitar making. You really couldn't do a lot of the measuring tasks without a set of these. I also need to finish the shape of the headstock, so I'll do that by putting the sanding attachment on my drill press, and then I can sand as close to the line as possible and finish it off with some fine sanding after that.
Taking a stride, and I know that I can rest besides more than me. If it takes more than I'll read. Not as yet, the lucky run, near before good fortune as it comes to be. Everyone's combinations reign in front of me. When I wait, why not hide? When are you in line to be? Who deserves what is won? If a chance comes running free, 1 in 10 as of how. Carry on, no sense to see. Driven hope now far beyond to reconcile. Na na na, na na na, na na na.
So the fretboards have been routed a couple of times on each side, so hopefully we're pretty close now. So let's have a look. .48, 6.59, 6.48. So we only got 0.1 of a mil difference, but when I sand the radius in, that will sort itself out. The next step on the headstock is to drill out the tuner holes. Now, since the headstock shape is really just the Telecaster on the top where the machine heads are going to go, I was able to download a Telecaster template from the internet, which has the spacings for where the holes will go. So it has a center line on it, so as long as I line up the center line, I can then mark exactly where the holes will go.
Take away as if though divided from my pain. Oh, never down in good stead to crumble all around. Oh, and I have stained the very best to have stolen precious life to this mess. Said I'd done last to give up waiting for the war. When I wait, why not hide?
So the next part is to get the headstock to the right thickness. Now I don't have a bandsaw which would make this job really easy by slicing off a thin section, and I certainly don't want to use the jigsaw to do that. So it'll be back to the trusty router table. I've scored and marked a line at just under 15 mil all around the edge there. If I can get it to 15 mil, it means I've got a bit of room for sanding to have the right thickness there. I've cut a line just where I want to do the routing up to. That just means that I'll prevent hopefully any tear out from the sides. I found the black wood does chip out quite easily. So on the router sled, get this down to about 15 mil, and then I'll be able to just transition in slightly through sanding there to get it all how I want it.
When I wait, why not hide? When are you in line to be? Who deserves what is won? If a chance comes running free, 1 in 10 as of how. Carry on, no sense to see. Driven home now far beyond to reconcile. Na na na, na na na, na na na.
So the headstock's at the right thickness now. I've sanded in the transition between the nut and the headstock. I still need to do some fine sanding, but I can do that later on. And I've drilled the access for the truss rod. That's about all I can do on the neck now until the fretboard is finished, and then I can glue it on and do the final shaping on the back of the neck. So during the week I received a package from Crimson Guitars for a few new tools that I've ordered. So I got myself a bradawl, one of the fretting dead blow hammers, and a Crimson Guitars notch straight edge. So I think it's time to find a new home in the shed for these three tools. So one thing I like to do is to keep a record of the things that I've been building, so guitars and other instruments. So in this book I really just keep sketches, diagrams, measurements, anything that I think will be useful if I'm building something similar again. And it was vitally important that my future self came back in episode 2 to put in some more information about the time travel circuit and the bigger on the inside circuit. I think there's critical information here that I won't be able to build this guitar if I don't have this book now. Okay, I think it's time to make another coffee. I'll just leave the book here. I think it should be safe in the shed from any enemies that may be around.
The Rex must find the plans for the time travel guitar. All resistance will be exterminated. The guitar plans have been located. Prepare the teleport.
Okay, time to get some work done. Oh, hang on. The plans have been stolen by someone or something. Now I've got two options, I think. I can either one, try to hunt them down and get the plans back, or two, at some stage in my time stream, I came up with the ideas in the first place. So maybe it's up to the present me rather than future me to get the designs for the bigger on the inside circuit and the time travel. I'll have to think about that and see how I go. All right, on with the rest of the build. So it's time to start working on the fretboard again. Since the fretboard was just rough cut, I'm going to first just use the plane to plane the sides smooth, just so I've got a straight edge to work with. And then I'll be putting it on the fret template. I've got a fret cutting blade on the table saw, so I'll square that up on the template, and then I can use the table saw to cut the fret slots where I want them.
So you see, understand this some more. A plate of promises, yet what remains to hold? A past caress and places all the same intentions. Fine, not in time. So I'm not too great, certified in store. When I'm inside, then you'll know I'm awake, greater than before.
Now you might have noticed on the thumbnail for this video that there was a question mark over the 12th fret for the inlay. So it's time to reveal what will be the 12th fret inlay. And what better thing to do than on a Doctor Who guitar is to actually have a question mark. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be using some aluminium for the main part of the question mark, and then the dot as well as the other dot markers for the frets will be aluminium tubing filled with glow-in-the-dark resin. I've had a test with the aluminium tubing and the resin, and as you can see from the photos, it will definitely give the effect that I want. My first step now is going to be to cut out the question mark on the aluminium. The inlay is now pretty much flush with the fretboard. There's a little bit more sanding to do to get rid of all the scratches, but that will be taken care of when I radius the fretboard. But I'm pretty happy with the fit and how it's going to look. I've decided to glue the fretboard on as the next step. After that, I'll put it back on the router table and I'll get the edges flush with the neck. Then I'll be radiusing the fretboard to get the right shape that I want. And finally, I'll be putting in the fret markers.
Taking a stride, and I know that I can rest besides more than me. If it takes more than I read. Not as yet, the lucky run, kneel before good fortune as it comes to be. Everyone's combinations reign in front of me. When I wait, why not hide? When are you in line to be? Who deserves what is won? If a chance comes running free, 1 in 10 is of how. Carry on, no sense to see. Driven hope now far beyond to reconcile. Na na na, na na na, na na. Take away as if though divided from my pain. Oh, never down, then good still to crumble around. Oh, and I have stained the very best to have stolen precious lives into this mess. Said and done, last to give up waiting for the war. When I wait, why not hide? When are you in line to be? Who deserves what is won? If a chance comes running free, 1 in 10 is of how. Carry on, no sense to see. Driven hope now far beyond to reconcile. Na na na, na na na, na na na.
So for the fret markers, I'm just going to tape up the fretboard. This is really just to keep the glow-in-the-dark powder out of the wood grain or anywhere else that I don't want it to be.
When I wait, why not hide? When are you in line to be? Who deserves what is won? If a chance comes running free, 1 in 10 is of how. Carry on, no sense to see. Driven hope now far beyond to reconcile. Na na na, na na na, na na na.
So the CA glue's been drying overnight. I will leave it for quite a few days still to cure properly, but let's have a look and see how it's turned out. I'm really happy with how that looks. When it's cured completely, I'll be able to file and sand back the inlays to make them flush with a fretboard. But for the moment, the neck is looking fantastic. Okay, so we've reached the end of the video. I didn't get time to carve the back of the neck, which is something that I wanted to do, but I can certainly do that next time. In the next video, I will be working on the guitar body, which I'm pretty excited about. I'll be doing all of the carving and shaping, as well as doing all of the cavities for the infinity mirror and also the digital delay pedal. So that's the thing that I'm really been looking forward to. Okay, I think all we have to do now is to charge up these glow-in-the-dark fret markers and see what the real effect looks like. If you've liked what you've seen in this video, make sure you click the like button and also subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all next time.